Wayne Rooney has admitted his biggest fear during his binge drinking sessions were killing someone or himself. Speaking on BBC Breakfast on Thursday to promote his upcoming Amazon Prime documentary Rooney, the former footballer spoke openly about his self-binges which would see him shut himself in his house and drink for 2 days. Wayne, 36, admits he knew he needed to seek help but felt unable to turn to his teammates at the time and confess he was struggling. Speaking to Sally Nugent, Wayne said his wife Colleen knew the trigger for his mistakes in the past, including his notorious brothel visits, was alcohol. Colleen knows Terry's been influences in terms of why I've made a mistake. And terms I don't mean people, I mean alcohol, Wayne said. Talking about his darkest time with alcohol and his biggest fears, Wayne immediately responded, "My death. I think, as I said before, you make mistakes, which I did. And that could have been girls, it could have been drink driving which I've done. It could have been killing someone. You could kill yourself and that's a bad place to be, so I knew I needed help. I knew I had to get that help in order to save myself, but also to save my family." Sally asked him about a moment in the documentary where he says I could sit at home and have a glass of red wine, but no good will come of it. Wayne confessed he didn't have control of his drinking, explaining, "I knew if I had one glass then it'll lead to 2, 3, 4 and then, that's when I know, once that happens, Terry's no good going to come of that." He added that he never felt able to turn to his team for help as a young player, as the dressing room culture was different 10, 15 years ago. "I couldn't go into a dressing room and say I'm struggling with alcohol, I'm struggling mental health-wise, I couldn't do that." In a soul-bearing interview with Oliver Holt, the Mail on Sunday's chief sports writer, last week Wayne opened up on his self-binges with alcohol and the effects it had on his wife and career. At just 16 when he became a Premier League player, he said he was unprepared for life in the spotlight and suffered mental anguish. "I would actually lock myself away and just drink to try to take all that away from my mind. Locking myself away made me forget some of the issues I was dealing with," he said. "It was like a binge. Normally, that's with a group of lads, but this was a self-binge. I'd get a couple of days off and I wouldn't want to be near anyone. I would sit in the house and for 2 days, I would just drink. Then on the 3rd day, when I was back in training, I would have to dust myself down and put eye drops in and get through that week's training. I was in a really bad place." One drunken binge in 2016 saw him gate-crash a wedding at the England team hotel in Hertfordshire, resulting in an FA inquiry. Rooney said it would have been impossible for him to share his feelings and problems in the United dressing room, adding, "Now people would be more empowered to speak about that kind of thing. Then you would suffer internally rather than letting your thoughts out. Growing up on a council estate, you would never actually go and speak to anyone. You would always find a way to deal with it yourself. It was trying to cope with it yourself rather than asking for help." Colleen, 35, appears alongside her husband, 36, in the documentary, Rooney, released on Prime Video on Friday, and is seen speaking honestly about the issues they have faced in their marriage, including Wayne's notorious brothel visits and escort scandal. Wayne's wife of 14 years insists in the film that "I wouldn't be standing here if I hadn't forgiven him," as she reflects on their 20-year relationship. Reflecting on the difficult times in their marriage, Colleen concedes, "The first time, we were young, so there was a lot of arguing." Admitting she didn't approve of the company Wayne was keeping as a young footballer, Colleen insists, "I knew groups that Wayne was hanging around with that weren't good for him. Lovely people, but together, with alcohol, not good, and I told him that from day one. I didn't want him to stop being friends with them, but I didn't want him to go out with them because they got in bad situations. Alcohol is a lot to blame and still is, up to this day with things that has happened recently. It's not a good thing for Wayne to be unsupervised." Wayne is also seen discussing the period, admitting, "I put myself in the wrong place, and when you're in the wrong place and there's alcohol involved, you're gonna make bad decisions and you're going to have to suffer and deal with the consequences. That's what happened. It doesn't take away any of my love for Colleen, it happened. It was a wrong decision to make. I held my hands up and we worked through it,